Start in earnest, and the issue we're looking at this morning is the issue of insecurity in Nigeria. The fact that we know we're desperate to have the ammunition, equipment, infrastructure that is required for us to be able to fight what we have tagged a war. This is war in Nigeria. This is war in the northeast of this country. And it is war that has over time spread to the north central and threatened to come all the way to the southern part of the country. But somehow it has not manifested in that way. And this is war that we need appropriate equipment to be able to fight. We need proper ammunition and arsenal of all kind of things to make this war one that will go away. A governor in the northeast, actually to be precise, the governor of Borno State, at the beginning said that our soldiers don't have the proper equipment to fight this war. A lot of people lambasted him, they rebuked him, they accused him of not being patriotic. And then we realized that we needed to go out and borrow a lot of money to buy the right kind of equipment to fight this war. Somebody should apologize to the governor, I guess, if it turns out that we don't have the enough equipment to fight this war. Now, having said that, we now have a situation where we're not only going out to buy it, but it now looks like armed deals are going awry. They're going weird, and money is moving around. And instead of us celebrating the fact that we're investing in our in buying and procuring the kind of equipment that we need to fight this war, is now looking like all kind of allegations are coming our way. For us to have this conversation this morning, we've invited him to the studio. I'll start from my right. We've got Dari Ogunlane, who's a security expert. Dari, good morning and welcome.
Good morning.
And on the other side, I've got a very good friend of the house and one that we're always happy to have in the studio, Captain Umar Aliyu, a security expert as well. Captain, good morning and welcome. And also the President Leadership Watch, Dr. Martin Nwayao. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much.
Okay, let me start with somebody who's an insider of some sort because he's been in the Nigerian Army before, so you should understand how well equipped our soldiers are and the situation that we're going through. At the beginning of this conversation, when Adeshewa and I were talking about the fact that we should be praising our soldiers and saying they're doing fantastic work, putting their lives on the line. But having said that, we also realize that they don't have the right ammunition. What is your thought and your feelings when you heard that certain amount of money running into millions of dollars, over 9 million in the first instance, over 5 million in the second instance, is being used as something that people now describe as money laundering rather than money to be spent procuring equipment and infrastructure for our soldiers? What's your thought?
Well, let me think aloud on screen for once.
Please do.
$9.3 million for me tends more towards the suspicion that it's for money laundering than towards the fact or the allegation or the supposition that it's meant to buy weapons.
Why would you say that?
Weapons are expensive. There's no other way of putting it. I don't see what $9.3 million would buy.
Okay, while you're thinking aloud, can I make you think aloud and take a couple of steps back? What will 9.3 million buy?
Honestly, I don't know. Maybe cutlasses.
Oh, okay.
But that will be...
I tell you, one armored personnel carrier, not even an armored tank, would probably rubbish that amount. One fighter aircraft, whatever you want to think. Certainly, we are not going to buy AK-47s, which we are using now, and they are not doing the job. $9.3 million, yes, was impounded in South Africa. That it's being used to buy arms, for me, is an afterthought. It wasn't meant for arms because it's not enough to buy no arms. Believe me, I'm serious. Except, of course, if we were trying to buy the arms unseriously. Let me just put it to you this way. How much have we actually sunk since 2009 on arms or defense, some 11 billion. And that has actually gotten us no effects yet. Convert $9.3 million to naira. That's a little less than 2 billion. So what exactly do you want to do with 2 billion that 11 billion didn't do? Or what exactly do you want to do, didn't you do with 11 billion that you expect 2 billion to do? Agreed. It's no longer a secret. It's just not transparent. Okay. 9.3 million was impounded in South Africa, but I don't want to believe it was meant to buy arms.
Are you aware that the National Security Advisors, General Sambo Dasuki, signed off on this deal?
So I was told, so I have read, but I'm still telling you that all that is afterthought. No doubt about it, he could have signed it off. No doubt about it, the money made way through a process, but for arms, it's ridiculous.
Let me come in here also. The list was clear on what to buy.
What and what do they want to buy?
There was an aircraft was there.
For?
Yes, so if you're saying the money is too small, what do you make of the disconnect between the list? I have the list here, it's coming up.
Yes.
And the amount that was earmarked for it.
That's what I'm saying. You are looking at the size, the proportion of the army, okay? Let's not even go to the armed forces, the three arms of the armed forces. But I know the Army and the Air Force are very actively involved in this business in the Northeast. And somebody is telling me some less than 2 billion is going to be used to buy arms for them.
Okay, let me ask...
I'm just not down with that.
Let's ask Dario Golana the same question. Dario, what's your thought when you heard that South African government has seized $9.3 million of our money because they didn't believe it was meant for procurement of ammunitions?
Well, I would not want to rule it out completely, that the money is not meant for arms. I would not want to do that. But I want to ask a question. Even if you are going to buy that kind of arms, who's supposed to, sign, who's supposed to, do that kind of operation? All departments in our security agencies, military, Air Force, Land Army, Navy, they have ways of procuring their equipment, which of course will not be done by the NSA. And at the same time, I would want to look at it, maybe because we're in a desperate situation and they want to do something quick. And probably that was the reason the NSA, because the first one, don't forget that the first 9.3 million naira that was seized, there wasn't any document backing it up that it was going for arms. And that one created another suspicion for me, that 2 weeks after, they sent another 5.7 billion, probably in order to confuse Nigerians, that okay, well, the first one we sent to, it was really meant for harm. And you can see the second one, 5.7 million, that was when you have documents supporting that, okay, they are going to buy one and one this thing. But like Captain said, if you want to buy a gunship helicopter, it's going to cost you about $5.7 billion. $5.7 million alone, just one gunship helicopter, depending on the kind of, I'm sorry, let me be very clear. Because recently they purchased about 40, that's about 4 squadron of both gunship helicopters and transport helicopters, and that's running to billions of naira. So, and if it costs one, it's going to be about 5.7 or $5 million. So, but if you are buying that, probably you are buying it from black market. Last 2 years, the Israeli Defense Ministry said, okay, 2 F-15 and F-16 fighter jet engine, disappear. From their airfield. So something like that happens occasionally, where some element may steal government property and may want to resell it, which is black market.
Okay.
So,
talk us through quickly the process of purchasing arms in this country.
Would you know?
Would you know how it's done? From what point to what point? How it's supposed
well,
to
it's
be
clear.
done?
That's what you have just said. That each department, if you are talking about Navy, you are talking about Army, they have their method of procurement, which of course will not go through the NSA. NSA doesn't have that constitutional power to go and do that. So, that one's ridiculous. And also, I've put this clause probably because we're in a desperate situation. Maybe that's the reason they are doing what they're trying to do. But in reality, the system, this is a retired captain from Army, he knows that it's